So I wanted to come in and talk to you guys a little bit about the state of HillmanTok right now and what that means for Screenwriting 101, because I know that you guys are getting a lot of different information out there, and there are a lot of questions and concerns about HillmanTok. But then I also want to give you guys the opportunity for some Q&A. So first, let's start with, if you are truly interested in Screenwriting 101, will I be posting the lessons here on TikTok? Yes, we are up to lesson number 4. But if you want to get in some real learning, if you want to be in our live workshops, you need to be in our school community. The link is in the bio, skool.com/screenwriters. We're making an announcement tomorrow about what our actual syllabus is going to be. Now, people have asked, is it free or is it paid? For those of you who have been here long enough, you know that this is my actual business called The Professional Pen, where we develop screenwriters from idea to pitch. I'm the first Black-owned script consultancy in Hollywood. This is what I do full time. I have taught at Florida State University. I have taught at New York Film Academy, okay? So I do this. I have been an executive at the Sci-Fi Channel. I currently work at Amazon Studios. So this is what I do all day, every day. So the free part is being on the school app. We have a program called the Screenwriters Social. Everything in it is free, including our call that we're having tomorrow. We have a writing challenge every month, and those people who participate in the writing challenge, one person will be selected, and I will give them feedback on their screenplay, live feedback, okay? And then we also answer questions that you may have about screenwriting or the business. That's totally free. Any discussion boards that we do surrounding screenwriting elements, etc., that's totally free. Any kind of feedback that you want to get from your peers, any questions that you have that you put in the group, all of that is free. The thing that you pay for are the workshops, okay? So anytime we have a workshop, it is a paid event. Why? Because not only do I have to make money as a business, but I also have other teachers. So I have to pay them. All right. So those are paid events. But for those people, if it's not in your budget right now and you are not able to pay, then just come enjoy all of the free opportunities. For those people who are able to attend our American fiction workshop, you see how we get down. We get into the nitty gritty of screenwriting. Okay. Oh, great. Thank you, Lynn. I'm glad Lynn says she's in the school community and she is loving it. We have a lot going on over there, and people are really, really, really stretching themselves creatively. So tomorrow we're going to announce what our syllabus is and how you can participate in all of our workshops going forward. We even had a writing hours this past Sunday, which is just intimate, intentional time for you to write. Because if you want to be a writer, you have to write. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, you have to start somewhere. You have to get to the page and you have to start writing. So we give you at least 2 hours a month where you don't have any excuses, where you need to write, okay? So for those people who showed up for writing hours, hopefully you were able to write something. I have been writing a lot right now. I have been hired as a contractor to come in and polish a screenplay. So I have been spending my days polishing that screenplay, doing minor story editing, doing proofreading, doing formatting. And when you do that, when you properly format a screenplay, sometimes it increases the page count. But I have a strict page count that I have to stay under. I have to stay under 120 pages. I am at 119 right now. So after I finish the full pass on this draft, I'm gonna go back and see what I can cut because I have to stay under 120 pages for this project. Okay, so next I want to talk about what's going on with HillmanTok, because I know that there's a lot of, just misinformation and miscommunication. You guys may or may not know this because we don't have control over our algorithm. I was the first professor to come on and say, hey, because you're taking Dr. Barlow's class, you're now taking my class, right? And when I did it, I thought it was just fun. Obviously, this is something I actually do, So I was like, hey, if it ends up sending people here to learn screenwriting, then I win. But, I thought it was just, something fun to do. As you can see, it then spread and became the thing that it is now. And some of us have been interviewed for different articles and things, and it's, grown a lot of our pages, etc. And all of that is great. But then some people have gotten together to try to, from the admin side, make it into something that I'm not able to tell you about. One of the things, and I'm saying I'm not able to tell you about because I don't know, right? I'm not keeping any secrets from y'all. I don't have any information. But what I do know is the thing that makes HillmanTok great is that it's available on a public platform, which means you can have access to it whenever you want to have access to it, right? It means that the way that you give back, especially to those people who aren't necessarily running a business, right? Like me, like I said, because I'm running a business, there are going to be free offerings and there are going to be paid offerings. But for most of the professors, they really just came on here to just share their knowledge. And the way that you repay them is by watching, by liking, by commenting, by reposting, right? The moment you try to make it into a trademarked 501c3 accredited place is the moment it's not free anymore. Right? You have to pay your professors, right? The moment you try to make it into an institution, then now it becomes just like all of the other HBCUs, and I'm gonna keep it funky, that y'all are not donating to. You see what I'm saying? So we went through this, and then people started talking about gatekeeping and all this other stuff, and we need to have something for us. HBCUs already exist, and most of them need funding, and nobody cares. Nobody's sending them checks. You're not sending them checks. So to then get on here and take something that is fun and open, and that's why it's free, and try to turn it into an actual institution, especially amongst people who A, likely don't know each other because this is TikTok, and B, doesn't make you a businessman or woman, doesn't mean you know anything about running a school or running a business, let alone a school. You've snatched the fun away. Now it's not fun anymore. Now it's not fun anymore. And now you're going to have to start paying people. Because once you start putting in the work to run a business, eventually people are going to want to know how they're going to get paid. Anybody who runs a business knows that you running a business is more than a 9 to 5, right? I'm always working, running my business. If somebody sends me an email because they're trying to give me money, I'm responding. I don't care what time it is. Now, I might schedule that email to send at a decent time during the day. But anybody who runs a business knows that we're always working. And so when you get a group of people together, especially people who don't know each other, and they start giving X amount of hours of their day to make something come together, those people at some point are going to want to get paid for their time. And then at the end of the day, pay for their time for what? There's no time to create what the vision is. But again, it being this imaginary thing on TikTok that's available to everybody is the magic. That's the magic. The moment egos get into it and try to make it into an institution that exists, the moment it becomes just like all of the rest of our institutions. The rest of our institutions are not like that because they're just doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot of infrastructure and a lot of money to run anything, let alone a full-on institution, right? So I think, we have taken this fun trend a little too far. And because of that, for people who are not really understanding the difference between, like, it's not necessarily a joke, but it is a trend and it is imaginary, right? Those of us who grew up watching a different world, or even those of us who are a little bit younger and nostalgia still took y'all back to watch the shows that we grew up on, you understand the Hillman part of it, but the bigger part of it is the TikTok. That's the thing that makes it available to everyone. That's the thing for that person who didn't get a chance to go to college, for that stay-at-home mom, for that person who is working a job but wants to learn some new skills. Now they can go to their professor's page whenever they're available. They can catch a live whenever they're available, and they can get these new skills because it's here and available. And I understand people who are saying, well, TikTok might not always be here, so we need to have another platform. Sure. But the moment you try to make it an institution, the moment you try to put it behind a paywall, then you lose the magic. If I'm going behind a paywall, I can go to an HBCU that exists. If I'm going behind a paywall, I can go to a community college that exists and actually come out with a certificate, with a degree. You know what I'm saying? I could go to trade school. There's so many things that I can go to if I'm really trying to be institutionalized. But the whole point of this, and let me not say that's the point, because like I said, I was the first person to say, oh, this is cool. If she's doing a class, so am I. There was no point. You see what I'm saying? It's a trend. But because a lot of us have a lot of information to give, we stood 10 toes on the trend. And now it's just becoming not fun. And listening to how messy it's become, especially with the whole trademark thing, with people spreading rumors, trying to make it seem like somebody else had started the trademark, when really that's not what happened. When most people, who claim to be the founders and the admin and etc. don't have any answers to any questions and are actually trying to downplay it all and say, oh, it's not this serious, it's not blah, blah, blah. But it's like, once you start getting paperwork involved, once you start talking about the I, the R, and the S, once you start talking about the federal government, it can get serious. It can get serious real quick. Okay. Actually, 2 people have a trademark out right now. Both of them seem to be African-American women. The rumor was that it was a white woman who was trying to steal it from us. But anybody can go search trademarks. So you can go on Google right now and go search the trademark for HillmanTok, and you will see the names that come up. But that's neither here nor there, because anybody can do a trademark. Anybody can do a trademark, just like anybody can do a website. They have a HillmanTok website. Anybody could do that. If I would have thought about it first, I could have had it. Right? Like you can't police those kinds of things, So somebody might own HillmanTok.com. Somebody else owns HillmanTok.org. Am I sleepy? No, I'm not sleepy. I'm sick. But thank you for the compliment. You know what? Don't do that. You're not supposed to come in here and tell me I look sleepy. That's not nice. So anyway, I wanted to come in and just give you some reassurance that no matter what is going on with HillmanTok, Screenwriting 101 is real. And we will be learning screenwriting. It doesn't matter what they have going on. Now, I heard that the algorithm is suppressing. Before HillmanTok, my algorithm wasn't that great anyway. But like I always say, if you go on my profile, you'll see that I've been talking about screenwriting since the beginning of time. So this is something I've always been doing on my page. No, it's not too late to start. Just click the link in the bio to join our community. We have 6.9 thousand people in our community. Our discussion boards have 200 to 500 comments on them. So come on in and join us. But I just wanted to come on here because I wanted to be able to say to you that your professors are still here. Your professors are not the admins. Your professors are not the founders. Your professors are still here teaching. So do not get disheartened by the whole thing. Follow your professors, turn on the notifications, check their pages. I know there's like a For You page and then there's like a following page. For those who didn't know, I didn't realize this until like sometime last year. But when you open TikTok, if you look at the top, there's like a tab for following and a tab for You and then like some other tabs. If you click the following one, it shows you people you're following. It took me quite a while before I realized that that was up there. So if you are not seeing your teachers, follow them and then go to the follow tab, and then you'll be able to see all of the people. Now, as far as the creator program works, it has its rules about how you can come across someone's page in order for them to like get money off of it or whatever. You can only get money once you've hit 1,000 views, once you're in the program. So you have to be in the program. To be in the program, you have to get at least 10,000 followers, and then you have to get at least 100,000 views within, don't let me lie, 30 days, something like that. So get 100,000 views and 10,000 followers, right? Once you're in the program, you don't get any money unless your video gets at least 1,000 views. And then the money you get is like cents on the view. Cents. 0.000 something cents on the view. Since I've been in the program, I've only been in the program for a few days. And so none of my last like 4 videos have even gotten to 1,000 views. So I'm not even making any money off of doing this. So I say that to say, we're always going to be learning screenwriting over here, regardless to whether HillmanTok exists or, you know, the creator program pays me any money. If you follow me on Instagram, you know, like right now, my stuff is being suppressed on Instagram, so nobody's seeing it. I can usually get to, you know, 100 something likes per post on Instagram. That's usually like my space, my area. And now it's like not showing it to anybody. I get like 20 likes. So that's the algorithm. The algorithm is always going to be weird like that. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time, more of our time, you know, talking about that. Because like I said, I don't have any extra information. None of the professors are privy to any of these conversations they're having about HillmanTok. So I'm learning it secondhand, just like you are, right? I'm learning it by what shows up in my FYP, just like you are. I've had a few people come into my DM asking me to come off platform, but as you guys already know, I already have a platform because it's already exists for me, and it's school.com, SKOOL.com/screenwriters with an S. The link is in my bio if you aren't able to remember it. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get all the likes and the views. But it's like once you get in there, you got to keep getting them. And that's what's been hard for me. So I've had a few videos that have gone viral, you know, just like over these years, most of them random videos. But it's hard to like keep it up after that. So I haven't gotten to 1,000 views in like my last 4 or 5 videos. And that's fine. Okay, so for these next 15 minutes that we have left, let's talk screenwriting. Let's answer your questions. They don't have to be about screenwriting. Oh, thank you. They don't have to be about Screenwriting 101 or HillmanTok or how you enrolled or anything like that. But if you have any questions about writing your screenplay, I want to be able to come on here and do Q&As every now and again with you. I will likely not do full workshops on here because full workshops are being offered to the people in our school community. But on here, I will likely come on and do, thank you for following. I will likely come on and do Q&As for you. So this is your time. Drop your questions below. I am looking and paying attention. For those who just came on, somebody asked me if I was sleepy. No, I'm not sleepy. I am ill. I don't know what got me. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. But go ahead and drop your questions down below. We've had 4 lessons so far on screenwriting. We talked about protagonist, antagonist, world building, and social proof. Today, social proof went up. And so anytime I put up those videos, your job is to watch the video, and then I ask you to drop down in the comments with answering the question, whatever question that I pose in there. So today's video is about social proof. Has anybody watched the video? If so, can you tell me in the comments, what is social proof? So social proof, simply put, is the information that we need to know about your protagonist in order to journey with them through the film or the TV series. Okay, let's see. It's the way an emotion, scene, feeling gains validity from the reaction of others. Okay, close. What I'm looking for is their skills, their flaws, their personality, their likable qualities, their wants, their needs. Any of the things I need to know and understand about them in order to journey with them through this film so that they can reach their goals in this film. Lynn, yeah, I haven't put it up there yet, Lynn. So that means if I'm in a movie about putting out fires, that's my goal. I'm going to age myself. If the movie is Backdraft and my job is to put out fires, the social proof that I need is to prove I know how to put out fires, which means in the first 5 minutes of the film, you're likely going to show that I have a specialty when it comes to fires. Maybe I'm not the actual firefighter. Maybe I'm a chemist. Maybe I'm a pyro. But whatever it is, you're going to show in those first 5 minutes that I am the expert at fire. So that when the inciting incident happens, that proves or causes a goal or a problem that deals with fire, you now know as the audience that, yeah, she's going to be able to handle that. Why? Because she's already proven that she's great with fire. That's what social proof is. Yes, a component that makes the characters believable. Oh yeah. So now that you know what social proof is, I want you to put in the comments, tell me about a movie or a TV series. Tell me what the social proof was for the character. So for example, one of the examples I put in the video was Scandal. When we open up on the pilot of Scandal, we don't open up with Olivia Pope. We open up with two people talking about Olivia Pope. And they are talking about her like she is the baddest thing to ever walk the planet. You haven't met her, you haven't seen her, but you hear other people talking about it. Social proof, by seeing someone physically do something or hearing someone else talk about it, is much better than social proof coming directly from the person. For example, I can come on here and tell you guys, I'm an expert, I'm an expert, I'm an expert. But if you heard from somebody else say, man, when I was trying to work on my screenplay, Shannan is the one who helped me, you're likely more liable to go, okay, well, let me go look at Shannan's services, right? So that's what's happening when the pilot for Scandal opens up. We're hearing them talk about Olivia Pope and how good she is. Now, once we meet Olivia, she just has to live up to it. So the very next scene that we see is her doing the thing. Physically doing the thing. They just said she's this, she's that, she's this, she's that. The very next scene is her solving a problem, a big problem, an undercover problem, a secret problem. Because again, she works with scandals for the government. So we don't see her at home talking to her kids. We see her in the middle of it, getting people out of a very dangerous situation. That's social proof. So you see social proof really, really, really well in action movies. Let's date myself again. Speed. How does Speed open up? Speed opens up with them saving people from an elevator from a bomb. Why do we need to see that? We're not going to see these people anymore. We don't even know them. We don't care if they die. We're here because we need to know our guy is good with bombs. That's why we're here. So that when he finds out there's a bomb on the bus, we're like, oh, our guy's going to handle that. He's got it. He's good. He's good. But the only way that we can feel that way is if we saw him deal with a bomb before then. Now, because Speed is such an awesome movie, we also meet our antagonist at the top of the movie because it's the same dude doing the bombs. As a matter of fact, the reason he put the bomb on the bus was because our guy ruined his mission at the top of the film. Right? So that's planting some seeds, but the social proof that we're there for is our guy is not just a cop. He's on the bomb squad, or he deals with the bombs. That's what we need to see, right? If you watch any Avengers movies that are not the origin story, because when it's an origin story, you're not going to start off in action usually, right? Because it's more of a drama and we have to figure out how they get to the place of action, right? But like once we get it, okay, we're in it, we know that these people are superheroes, the movie is going to open up in an action sequence. Right? Excuse me, those first 5 minutes. Okay, would an example be that of a little girl speaking to her father about social justice, and then, okay, I'll wait for the and then part to come up, London. Thanos in first 5 minutes of Infinity War. Absolutely. And do you know how many times I've had to rewatch Infinity War to be like, how did Thanos get here? And then I have to go back. As a matter of fact, guys, because I love the Avengers so much, I just watched Endgame, Infinity War, and Black Panther this week. And I am, if I can get access to a bootleg version of Endgame, when we have our film analysis workshop in 2 weeks, we're going to do it on Endgame, and we're going to watch it sequence by sequence and break that thing down, because I don't think y'all understand the beauty that is happening in this film. I just don't think y'all see it. So I have to search for a bootleg version, because you can't show Disney on Zoom. Won't let you. So if I can find a bootleg version, oh yeah, we're gonna do it. Okay, would an example be that of a little girl speaking to her father about social action, and then, oh, London, I'm looking for the rest of your message. And then what? Is the workshop on school? Yes, the information will be on school. Black Panther, Killmonger's intro is also a great example of social proof. Absolutely. Because when we meet Killmonger, he is in a museum talking about the stolen artifacts. That's how we know that he's not your average guy, right? It's something so subtle, but we need to know he's intelligent versus, I just watched it, and of course I can't. Klaus, what's his name? Claw versus Claw, who's not very intelligent. He's just the evil bad guy. You know, he's the bad guy. He's just the muscle. Killmonger, however, is the brains. So when we meet him, we don't meet him fighting people. We don't learn until a few scenes later that he was even in the military, that he even gave himself all of these tattoos for his kill. That's more social proof, but that's not what we needed to know first. What we needed to know first was this right here. He's not your average bad guy. He's got some information. And because we've been in the story a little bit before we meet Killmonger, we already know Wakanda exists. And the fact that he is supposed to just be an American person and he knows Wakanda exists makes us go, ooh, oh, what's going on here? Right? Okay, and then she becomes an attorney that breaks a corrupt government. Yes, that would be considered social proof, because we would know that from childhood, she has been interested in social justice. And so to then see her become an adult who is doing social justice of some kind of way, then that would be great social proof for her. Yeah, Thanos is extremely deep. I think they also talked about him before that scene. Does it have to occur in the first 5 minutes? Haven't seen the lesson for. So I'm going to say yes. It's not literal though, Lynn, but yes. Because what else am I learning in those first 5 minutes? What people need to realize about screenwriting, and this is why when we do our film analysis workshops where we will watch a film or we will watch a TV pilot or a TV episode, we take it sequence by sequence, because there is no wasted tape. And I mean that literally, because before everything was digital, we literally had tape. Y'all remember having cameras where you had to go into the dark room and take the tape out? That's how film was done. Like, we did it on film, which means it'll run out. You can't just be in here shooting stuff for the hell of shooting stuff. It's gonna run out, right? So now you can do it on digital. You have more space. You have the little hard drives. You just change it out, get another hard drive or whatever. But at the end of the day, everything that we see on screen means something. Every single thing. If it doesn't mean anything, take it out. Take it out, take it out, take it out. Because now, especially now, with everybody's attention span being this long, baby, if I'm watching this thing for 5 minutes, and in those 5 minutes, I can't start putting context clues together. Y'all remember context clues from elementary school, from reading? You're doing the same thing when you watch a movie. I'm telling you, if you keep following me, I'm going to ruin the movie watching experience for you. So if that's not what you want, I suggest you stop watching, okay? Every single piece of information that you see on screen means something, and your brain is gathering it all and putting it together. That's the only reason the reveal worked. That's the only reason the aha moment worked, is because the breadcrumbs were compiling along the way. So yes, if I'm watching your film for 5 minutes, what else are you telling me? What else could I be learning? But who these characters are and what I need to know about them so that I can know that they are the best person or the worst person for this goal, for this problem. And the reason I say worst person is because sometimes it's a comedy. And that's the point. This person is terrible. He should not be doing this thing. What's the movie with Kevin Hart, Ride Along? Kevin Hart don't need to be in no police car with no police badge or no police firearm. But that's what we're learning in the first few minutes of the film, that he's actually really, really bad at this, which is why it's funny and a problem when he ends up on the ride along and actually has to do cop stuff. If I didn't know that, or if he was really good at it, now it's not a comedy. Now it's like, oh, well, he should be on the force. Well, why isn't he on the force? He's really good. Well, now you're making a whole nother movie, right? So everything I'm getting in those first 5 minutes, you're building the world for me, which is what our lesson, one of our lessons last week or earlier this week was. We do 2 lessons a week. So earlier this week, we did world building, and then we did social proof. In those first 5-10 minutes, you are giving us world building and social proof. Because by page 15, if you're writing a feature, take it literally, because people are not going to usually watch something more than 20 minutes without knowing where this thing is going. And your inciting incident is like your thesis statement. So again, let's go back. I know people hated school and people didn't want to pay attention in English class, but we're writers. So hopefully you guys were paying attention. Hopefully when you were in college, you were writing those essays, you understood your thesis statement. Your inciting incident is your thesis statement. If I don't have a thesis statement in the first paragraph, so when I used to teach, if I read my students' papers and there was I gave them the first page because I understood that they were learning. Your thesis statement is supposed to be in the first paragraph, because your thesis statement is what tells the person who's reading, not just your professor, even if you're reading an article online, even if you're putting an essay in some kind of magazine. That first paragraph is telling everybody, this is what this thing is about. That's what your thesis statement is. So I told my class, if I get past that first page and there's no thesis statement, you get a 0. Because I'm not going to keep reading and making up for myself what you're trying to prove to me. You have to tell me. And that's exactly what your inciting incident is. And we'll talk about the inciting incident next week. But for this week, that means you get 15 minutes to give me world building, social proof. That's what we call the normal, all of that time. And so next week, what we'll do is that our first lesson will be on the normal, and the second lesson will be on the inciting incident. Your world building and your social proof happens in the normal of your script. Every script has the normal. It might not start with the normal. It might start with the inciting incident and then go to the normal. But at some point, the normal is there. So what I mean by the normal, without getting, too far into it, because that's going to be our lesson next week, is that if you look at your characters like people, they're all living their lives before the cameras get here, right? The cameras are here because of the inciting incident. That's why we're here. We're not here for the normal. We're here for the inciting incident. But in order for me to know that something changed in their life, you have to show me what their regular life looks like. You know what I'm saying? If I don't know what their regular life looks like, then how do I know the stakes of of the inciting incident, of the bad thing that happened or the good thing that happened? How do I know? How do I know this isn't your regular life, right? So you have to show me a little bit of their regular life. So in that regular life, you're going to be building your world and you're going to be showing social proof. All right, I'm going through so I can look. So JC, is Goodfellas a good example of social proof? What in particular in Goodfellas? You have to tell me. Every single movie has the social proof. Now, whether they do it well or not is neither here nor there, but it should be there. I'm 43 and too old to actually pursue learning. Okay. I drive my family friends crazy pointing out the clues. Yeah, people don't like to watch with me. I'm pretty good for keeping it to myself. The problem is people don't want to watch with me because they don't want me to spoil it for them. But then when they're watching it with me, they're asking me questions. It's like, well, look, I'm trying to let you enjoy the movie. I don't have to speak out loud. But people also don't like that I'm not enjoying myself. So then they see me not enjoying myself and they're going, oh, well, what's wrong with it? I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to sit here and let you watch the movie. I don't have to like it. I don't have to say anything. I can keep it to myself. The worst part is when I pull out my phone and start writing notes. They're like, what are you writing? Hey, watch your movie. You're the one who wanted to watch this. Yeah, it's going to change how you watch all of the things. The beginning of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, the first 10 minutes tells the ending of the whole movie. Oh, I haven't seen it in a long time. I just watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids last year at some point. That wasn't my first time watching it, of course, but I rewatched it. It was so great. It was so great. Like some of that social proof that I want you guys to think about is, and we'll talk about this more when we talk about goals, and that'll be 2 weeks from now. But during that social proof, you are setting up your character's wants and needs. The needs are the emotional holes. The needs are the trauma that we're all motivated by. All of our traumas are not the same. Some people have big traumas. Some people have smaller traumas. But for those people, the trauma still affects them on a large scale. You might look at it and go, oh, well, you ain't ever been through nothing, just because what you've been through, you think is bigger than the next person. But if somebody has only been through what they've been through, it's big to them. Okay. And we are all motivated by those things. So if you can figure out what your character needs emotionally, your job is to externalize that into the goal, the physical thing that they're trying to accomplish, right? So during that normal, you're also setting that up. Here's an example. It's not about the normal, but it's an example of how you externalize the inner thing for the outer thing. And I have a video on this on my page. If you remember The Wizard of Oz, the lion is cowardly. What he needs is to be brave. Bravery is not something you can touch, right? Like your idea of what brave is not my idea of what brave is. But he wants to be more brave. So how can we show him becoming more brave? How do you externalize it? By giving him something to do. So when he accomplishes it, he can be like, oh my gosh, I'm brave. If he can get Dorothy to the wizard, he proves that he's brave. Because beforehand, he would have never done that. He would have never dealt with all the scary things that come along the way. He's cowardly. But this time around, for whatever reason, right? I haven't watched the movie in a long time, but for whatever reason, he decides to take Dorothy down the yellow brick road. And that is the externalization of that need. But what we're actually tracking is, can he get her to the wizard? And then getting her to the wizard means I'm brave. I did it, right? So that's what you're looking for. And though you have so much to set up in those first 10 minutes or so much to set up. But what I see people doing is, we've seen, like, by this point, my generation and on. So let's just, I'm a millennial. I'm an elder millennial. But let's just say, man, my sisters are Gen X. And I don't even think they watched as much TV as I did as a millennial. So I'm going to go with millennials. Okay. I'm going to leave Gen X out of it. Millennials on have lived on television. Okay. We were raised by television. We were those latchkey kids who went home and watched television, right? Who woke up on Saturday morning and watched television. So that means we've seen a lot of how storytelling is made and is done. So in our minds, we live in movie moments. And without understanding screenplay structure and understanding beats and what they mean and why they are being used, we just take a bunch of movie moments that we've seen already and put them in our screenplay, and they don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. Do you know how many screenplays I read where the person is waking up from bed? Why? Why do I need to watch this person wake up? What does this mean? But if you're not doing it with intention, you're just thinking, oh, it's a movie. It should open in the morning. Why? What do I learn from watching this person wake up? You tell me. Now I'm going to give you an example using iRobot, which is very appropriate right now because AI is taking over and iRobot is trying to warn us. Okay. Are we going to listen? I don't know. iRobot, we have some things happen, right? Some flashbacks or whatever, but we open on him waking up. One, he's waking up from the flashback. So that's why he's waking up. That's why we're starting there, right? But then we go through his morning routine. How many movies do we see, or how many screenplays have I read where we're watching somebody cook breakfast, somebody brush their teeth, somebody take a shower? I don't know why y'all want people to be naked so much. I don't know why y'all want people to be naked so much. I don't know why y'all keep putting these black women in the shower, getting their hair wet before they go to work. What are we doing? What black woman do you know gets her hair wet before she on her way to work? None. But you have it in your screenplay. Why? Okay, let's go back to iRobot. So he wakes up and we watch him go through his daily routine. And it isn't until the end of the scene where he goes out into the world that we realize this is a different world from what we thought. What we learned by watching him go through his routine is that he's stuck in the past. He's still doing things like we do them. He's got an old school radio. He has old school shoes. He cooks old school. He does everything for himself. It isn't until we get outside that we realize, oh my gosh, this place has robots and robots are doing everything for everybody else. But he don't mess with robots. That's why we woke up with him and watched him do his routine. Not just because he's Will Smith and he's fine and we need to see him in the shower. That's not why we're here. So your job is to think about intention. Why am I watching this? What information am I getting from it? And how does it push the story forward? And so all of that I just told you about Will Smith's character is social proof. But it doesn't look like it because you're just thinking, oh, we're just watching him get ready. No, you're not just watching him get ready. You're watching him do things in an outdated fashion. Because that tells you something about him. The only reason he can be the hero of this story is because he doesn't like the robots. He doesn't believe in them. He thinks that they are wrong. That's why he doesn't have them. That's why he still does things the old school way. That's social proof. So whatever it is that you're showing us, do it with intention. Where do we find scripts to read? You can find them on my website, theprofessionalpen.com/vault. It's going to ask you to make an account. And then once you make an account, you have access to all of the scripts that are there. These sessions are in your Screenwriters Social. My workshops are in the Screenwriters Social. Yes. These videos that I'm talking about are in there and on TikTok. Something you can predict how the whole movie will go if you pay attention. Yes. If you're paying attention, you really know. Oh, thank you. You said you're a really good professor. Enjoy your style and explanations. Thank you so much. Okay. I'd like to learn more about alternative structuring of those first 15 minutes until the inciting incident. You're going to have to give me more information about what you mean. Okay. Let's see. Do these same rules apply for writing for TV? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Same beats, different act structure. I won't go into it all right now, but a part of your job is to learn the act structure for the thing you want to write. Feature films are written in 3 acts. Half-hour multi-camera TV is written in 2 acts. Half-hour single-camera TV is written in 3 acts. 1-hour TV is written in 5 acts. Somebody drop a heart or something if that was your first time hearing that. So that's your job. Your job is to learn the act structure that you should be writing in. The more screenplays you read, you should be reading screenplays in the format and structure that you want to write. You can read anything you want to read for fun, but if you want to learn how to write The Cosby Show, reading Scandal, not going to help you do that. It's not the same act structure and it's not the same format. It's not going to help you, right? So your job is to know which one you're writing, which means you have to make a choice. And people don't want to make a choice. I want to write everything. You can write everything. Just learn one thing at a time so that you can learn it, right? So if you want to write something that's like Battlestar Galactica, reading Friends, not gonna help you. Not gonna help you. Okay? All right, millennials. Okay, Gen X grew up on TV. Yeah, I've been thinking about my sisters and I'm like, yeah, my sisters weren't in front of the TV like I was. But that was also, I'm the youngest. So by the time I was in front of the TV, they had lives. So they were already out of the house. Because, you know, when we were younger, we used to be outside. These kids don't go outside. We used to be outside. I wasn't old enough to be outside yet. They were all outside. So they weren't watching TV like I was watching TV. But probably before I came on the planet, they were watching TV. They didn't have cable, though. I was the kid who had cable. Everybody else had already graduated and left the house. I was at home. I had cable. So I was really watching TV. I've seen everything. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Did you watch Severance? I didn't watch Severance. I tried. I probably saw like 5 episodes, but I don't really remember much about it. I didn't enjoy it. I'm not saying it was bad. I just didn't enjoy it. Micah, I am a teacher. Every Disney movie. Look, let me tell you something. You want to learn structure? I teach from the Pixar formula. Okay? I don't know if you've seen my videos on the Pixar formula. I sell the Pixar formula because I've reloaded it with extra gems for you to be able to know if you know what's going on with your screenplay. So for those of you who, like to work independently, I have workbooks that can take you through A to Z when it comes to writing your screenplay. And it all starts off with the Pixar formula, because if you can't fill out the Pixar formula, you're not ready to write. If you can't fill out the Pixar formula, you will know all of the things that you don't know. Okay. And then you will need to go figure that stuff out before you write. If you want to learn screenwriting, watch Disney, watch Pixar. They do it right. I'm going to say 85% of the time, which is a good percentage. And the only reason I'm going to say 85% of the time is because every now and again they give you a dud Mufasa. And, you know, every now and again they give you a sequel to something that nobody asked for. That's not that great, right? But if we're just talking about like most of their stuff, even the stuff that's not that popular. Do you know what's really good? What's the one with the red panda? Turning Red? Is that the name of it? It didn't really get big or anything, but I didn't enjoy Inside Out 1 all that much, though when I went to rewatch it, I enjoyed it a little bit more. But Inside Out 2, this is structure. This is perfection. This is perfection. Just like Endgame is perfection. Just like Set It Off is perfection. Just like Boomerang is perfection. Just like Coming to America is perfection. If you want to learn screenwriting. So that's why when we do our film analysis and our TV analysis workshops this year, We're going to do script analysis, which means we read the script and break it down page by page. We're going to do TV and film analysis, which means we watch the film or watch the TV pilot or episode and break it down sequence by sequence. We're not going to go scene by scene because we'll never make it through. With the TV episodes, we usually make it all the way through. With the film, we never make it through. With the script, same thing. If it's a film script, we never make it through. We give ourselves 3 hours and we still don't make it through, but we get through, a lot of it. But we do it scene by scene, not scene by scene, sequence by sequence, because again, don't waste any tape. Don't waste it. There is stuff in Set It Off, y'all. I've seen this movie a million times, right? But I taught from it a couple of years ago. And even as I was teaching from it, I was like, yo, did you see what they set up in that last scene? That's now we're seeing in this scene, but it's this big. Like if you missed it, you missed it. If you missed it, it didn't change how you saw the film. But if you caught it, perfection. I'm just telling you, perfection. If you use The Devil Wears Prada as an example, we watch everyone wake up in the morning. Yes, but why are we watching them wake up, Rachel? Tell me in the comments. Why do we watch all of these people wake up and get dressed in The Devil Wears Prada? Right, to show the difference in everyone's lives. I see you, Rachel. I'm just now getting to it, but I see it. To show the difference in everyone's lives. But why specifically? Why do we need to see the difference in all of their lives? Yeah, he wears Converses in iRobot. How can you better support me? You can join that school community. You can buy workbooks. You can set up consultations. I do one-on-ones. You can attend the workshops. You can watch my videos. There's all kinds of ways to support, and I appreciate you. What are different ways to introduce the inciting incident versus the classic standard of the 15-minute point? I get it. Your inciting incident can come anywhere in those first 15 or 20 minutes. It can come in the first minute mark if you want it to. But if it comes at the first minute mark, you still have to reset me, right? Because if the inciting incident happens first, but I don't know these characters, I don't care. Right? Like the point of the normal. And so this is why it's very important for you to know the mechanism for the story beats, right? Like learn the rules so that you can know how to bend them, but also know what you're missing if you bend them. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't like structure because they think, oh, that puts me in a box. It's like, no, just learn the rules and then bend them. But then if you get a note, you know why you got that note. Because if you didn't have a normal, then you didn't give me a chance to relate to your characters, to like your characters, or invest in your characters. You just threw me right in, and I don't even know these people. So why do I care about what they have going on? Right? So if you do your inciting incident first, which happens, you can do that. You still have to reset me. I still have to go back to a normal. I got to go back. You got to reset me. And then something will then, get me back on track. Like this is not a great example because procedural TV shows are episodic, which means they stand alone, which means we're there for the procedural thing, which is the case of the week, not so much the characters. We're going to learn about those characters over time. So if we think about Law and Order SVU, sure, you care about those characters now because it's been 25, 30 years. But in episode 1, it's not necessarily the characters and their home lives and their personalities that pulls you in. It's the case. And in Law and Order SVU or any of the Law and Orders, you get the inciting incident in the first few minutes. The person dies. You get the dead body. You get the victim. You get the person showing up at the police department or whatever. But you then have to reset to, now we have to figure out who this person was and where she came from. And now we're going to be with the police officers a little bit. We're going to do that, and so by the time you get into the second act, because that's a 1-hour show, if anybody remembers 5 acts in a 1-hour show, by the time you get to the second act, now you can, really start getting into that investigation because that's what your second act is for. But you got to spend the rest of that first act making me care about this person who died because I don't care. I don't even know them. I don't know them. That's the point of your normal. That is the point, right? Like you got to give me a chance to relate to them and invest in them. And the only way I'm going to relate to them is if I know their wants, their needs, their personalities, and their flaws. That's why you need the social proof and their skills. Because maybe I like them just because they're really good at what they do. Think about Dr. House. He's not likable, but he's very good at what he does, right? And because he's so good, I want to see him do his thing. And then because it's a TV show and you have time, I eventually see, he's an asshole, but he does care if people live or die. He might not care how he talks to you in the middle of it, right? But he cares about his job, which means he cares about saving lives. You know what I mean? But you have to get to those redeeming qualities for him because he's not a likable person. And it's okay. Your characters don't have to be likable. I just need to be able to relate to them in some kind of way. All right, going through. Same with short films posted to YouTube. Okay, this question came during a time when I don't know what I was talking about. Were you talking about act structure? B. Lewis, tell me what you're talking about. Oh, you told me to repeat something and I missed it. Would you say the way Spike Lee writes backwards, he writes in Social Proof as well? He doesn't do, oh, you mean he writes his screenplays backwards, like he knows the end first? It doesn't matter how you write the screenplay, as long as you have put that social proof in there for me to understand these characters so that I care about them. You know, in school, I used to take my test backwards, right? But at the end of the day, when I gave it to my teacher, they could still read it forwards. So maybe he starts from understanding what's happening at the end of his script first. Maybe he does his act 3 first. Maybe he knows how it ends and then he works his way backwards. That's fine. When I watch it though, I need to get the social proof at the beginning. Because if I don't know who these characters are or care about them, I'm not going to make it to act 3. I'm not going to make it that far. Right? I took a class with Sundance for single camera and they taught us 3 to 4 acts. Well, I have never seen a single camera TV show written in 4 acts. I have seen a 1-hour show written in 4 acts, 5 acts, or 6 acts, but most of the time they're 5 acts. So I'm not going to say that they're wrong. I just have never seen a single camera show written in 4 acts. Abbott is single camera. Yes. So how do you enjoy TV shows and movies? If they're good. If they're good. I'm still analyzing them because that's just what my brain does. Even before I was a script consultant, I didn't have the language. I wouldn't be able to truly communicate to you what was happening in the right verbiage, but that's how I've always watched things. So I enjoy something when it's really good. Or you know what I'll do? If I want to enjoy something, I watch old stuff. Even if it's something I haven't seen before. If the movie was made in the 90s, it's gonna be good. Hulu will give you a good 90s thriller, honey. I can't even tell you the names of the movies. I will go to Hulu in a second and look for an actor that I know and watch a movie and enjoy myself. And I don't take any notes. I used to take notes and come on and talk about them. But then I realized if I wasn't talking about something trending, the algorithm didn't show it to anybody. I was like, oh, they don't care. Like this is an example. But like I had already seen Any Given Sunday. But when I watch stuff and because I'm a teacher, I can figure out how to utilize something from that movie to teach. I will come. Baby, nobody cared that I was talking about Any Given Sunday. And I was like, this was such a good lesson. Don't ask me what the lesson is now. I do not remember. This was years ago. But I will go if I just want to like when we get off now, I'm watching Penguin right now. And it's not moving me. It's not bad. I'm just not excited to watch it. When something is good, I spend my whole day at my computer like, man, I can't wait to watch that. Like, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen Endgame, Infinity War, Black Panther. I just watched them again this past week. And while I was out, y'all, I was out, supposed to be having a good time, drink in my hand. And I was like, dang, I could be watching Endgame right now. I had already started it, but I could only watch it in pieces because I always have so much stuff to do. And I was like, man, I'm out here with y'all. I could be watching Endgame. So if something is good, I'm going to enjoy myself. In musicals, the opening number usually sets up the world. Yes! Come on, musicals. I used to be in musical theater. For those who don't know, I used to do Broadway national tours. Musicals. This is how you know. This is why I was upset with Joker Part 2. Because they didn't use the music to move the story. Now, they used it as a mechanism, which was We're inside his head. This is how he sees life. These are his wants. These are his thoughts. Sure. But it didn't move the story forward. Whereas in a musical, you get your big beats through song. You get your character introduction through song. You get your world through song. So again, going back to Disney, if you gonna watch Beauty and the Beast, it's gonna start off with bonjour, 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 bonjour. There goes the baker with his tray like always. Right? You're gonna learn what's going on. You're gonna learn that everybody thinks Belle is a weirdo. In the opening song, they're not just singing for no reason. They're trying to tell you, hey, Belle is weird. Why do we need to know that Belle is weird? Because Belle is the only one who's going to get locked up with a beast and not be afraid. Belle is the only one who's going to get locked up with the beast and get him together. That's why we need to know she's weird. So that's why when the movie comes on, they sing a song about Belle. She's a peculiar girl. Can the inciting incident start at Act 2? No. No. Glad you asked that question. No. 15 or 20 minutes in. Your Act 1 of a film is usually about 30 minutes long. Your inciting incident needs to happen in the middle of that. If I am already in Act 2, then I am no longer reading. I am no longer watching, because what have you been showing me for 30 minutes? So going back to that thesis statement, I'm not going to read page 2 if there was not a sentence on the first page that said, this is what this essay is about. This is what I'm about to try to prove to you. And then all of your other following paragraphs are the evidence of the thing you're trying to prove, or the research of the thing you told me you were going to talk about. So it's the same thing in your screenplay. Your inciting incident happens about halfway in Act 1. The rest of Act 1 is your protagonist deciding to take on the call, right? We've heard call to action. That's what that is. They get to debate. They get to decide. Now, in every movie, they don't have to decide. If someone kidnapped my child, I don't have no decisions to make. I'm getting on the road. But that's not what the movies are always about. Sometimes, let's look at The Devil Wears Prada. She goes to work. She's treated like trash. What happens when she comes home? I don't think I can do this. I don't want to do this. And then what does her boyfriend say? You're going to do it for a little bit. You're going to get your coin. You're going to get your resume builder. And then, baby, you're going to be out. And so then she decides to take on the goal. And that's how we get into Act 2. Because she decided to take on the goal. In Uncut Gems, doesn't the inciting incident start right away? I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't remember. I really enjoyed it, but I just don't remember. I don't remember what happened in that movie. Shows of different values, yes. Why are shows being canceled after one season? If shows don't do well, they get canceled. The movie business is about making money. It's that simple. It's that simple. Like, you might have liked it, but in comparison to how it's being, in comparison to the other things that are on that network or on that streamer, it didn't prove itself. So it's gone. The other thing is, there is no infinite budget. You see what I'm saying? There's no infinite budget, but development is always happening. Always happening. Development is always happening, which means, let's say, I'm just going to throw something out. Let's say we only have 5 slots for original programming. And 3 of those slots are taken by giants that are not going anywhere. They've been here. They ain't going nowhere. So that means you only have 2 slots left. One of those slots just got here last year. But now you have these other things that you're developing that you think are going to be great. But the only way one of those things can get in is if one of these things gets out. So you're going to look at your numbers and you're going to say, this one isn't doing what we thought it was going to do. Now, if it is doing what it was supposed to do, they're not going to take it away. Because again, the point is to make money. But if it's not making them the money that they need, and they have other things they want to develop, and the budget is not infinite, then it has to go. And that's just what happens. It's decently objective, right? Like I don't want people to think it's subjective. It's decently objective. And it sucks because that means a whole lot of people end up without a job. That's what that means, right? That's what it means. Like you have to break it down. That sure, your favorite show is not going to be on TV, but that favorite actor of yours does not have a job. Those writers don't have jobs. They have to go back into the market and try again. There is no, oh, well, I'm just going to go write for a different show now. No, like it doesn't work that well. Doesn't work that well. Let's see. I'm thinking of the inciting incident. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. That's fine. Yes. So who is this? The lifted veil. Yes. The Act 1's inciting incident drives the reason for the second act. Thank you. Exactly. House had a substance abuse problem. Absolutely. Is screenwriting the same as book writing? Not to sound stupid. You don't sound stupid at all. No, they are not the same. They do not have the same structure or format. They do not tell story in the same way. I frequently have to stop myself from saying out loud, oh, this is the midpoint. And look, good for you, because midpoints are hard to point out. Midpoints are hard for even professional writers to hit. So good that you can point them out. Yeah, Sophia is a great actor. So I think all of the actors are great. It's just not exciting. I'm just not getting excited about it. Like I'll probably keep watching it just because I tend to like to finish things. Though I'm probably going to give up on Paradise because I'm feeling the same way. Like I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I'm not getting excited about it. And then they have the nerve to want to give us one episode a week. I probably won't be coming back. Now, if it was all there, I probably would have binged it already, whether I was really enjoying it or not, just because I like to finish things, you know. But I'm like, you gonna make me have to keep coming back? Probably not gonna see me. Why is quality screenwriting such an afterthought in Hollywood today versus the 90s and before? You know, it's all subjective, but I think the biggest thing is people just want to make stuff. Like that's the thing that sucks. People also took a lot more risk in the 90s and 2000s, and now that the budgets are smaller and there's so much competition, there's so much content out there, including this. Like you guys are on here not watching TV, right? That there is a rush, there isn't a care for the craft, and people are just making stuff. And I watch it happen all the time. I read a script. I'm not going to tell y'all who it was from. Just know that this is a big name screenwriter. And I read his script the other day. And I was like, this is trash. And I was surprised that it was trash because he's a big name screenwriter. Now, with that being said, a lot of screenwriters are rewritten. And they could be rewritten and not credited. So for all I know, even though he's the big name, what he does is set just the foundation and somebody else comes on and makes it great. So he could be fully aware of that. Those are people's jobs. So just like I told you guys earlier, I'm polishing someone's script right now. My job is to be that person who comes on top of the last writer to fix it up. Those jobs exist, right? So he could totally just be the person who has the idea, puts down the foundation, and then somebody else comes and makes it, you know, prettier and better. But I was highly disappointed. I was like, this is what you wrote? It was an early draft, but still, my early drafts don't look like that. My early drafts are decent. You know what I mean? Like, obviously they can get better. That's why writing is rewriting. That's why screenwriting is so collaborative. There are ways for it to get better. Absolutely. But my first drafts are not trash. They're not trash. Do they need growth? Yes. Can they use development? Yes. Are they trash? No. Am I ashamed for somebody to read them? No. Okay, let's see. Oh, you're working on a musical. Awesome. Well, you know, I would sing you something, but as you can hear, I'm under the weather, Micah. So maybe another day. maybe another day. Didn't watch Joker 2 because the first one was so hard for me to watch. Oh, I really enjoyed the first one. Do you feel like the movies and the TV shows aren't as good as they were in the past? If so, why? Okay, I think we just kind of talked about that. I think yes. I think films are not as good as they used to be. I think TV shows are better. I think TV shows have been able to take more risks, and TV shows have obviously have more time for you to get to know somebody, know your characters and your world. I think what's going wrong in TV, and when I say TV, I'm putting in quotation marks because if it's on a streamer, is it really TV? Is that from the business point of view, more people want to make TV than films these days, but then they want to make TV and they only want to do limited series, which means one season. And I don't mean that as in they got canceled. I mean, they wrote it to be one season. There was one problem to solve. They solved it and they're out. That's different from I pitched this because I thought it was going to be around for 5 years and it got canceled. That's not the same thing. And so it keeps writers out of work. When we were growing up, again, I'm an elder millennial, whatever it is they call us. When we were growing up, our TV shows were on for 22 episodes a season. So if you guys remember, you would watch TV in the fall. It would go off during the winter and come back on during the spring and then go off during the summer and then start again. Right? And so during the summer, you would only have like a couple of little TV shows here and there. But for the most part, it was all the game shows and stuff happening during the summer because they assumed you're not at home, you're not watching TV. Right? Like you're out and about, you're doing things. Same thing during the winter. That's why you get a lot of reruns and holiday shows. This was on regular TV. We didn't have any streamers. We even had no internet. Okay. I didn't get the internet until, when did I get the internet? Late 90s. By the time I got to college, people didn't even have computers. People were going to the computer. What do they call it? I don't even know what they call it. The computer room. What they used to call those? People didn't have computers in their room. I was one of the only people that I knew who had a computer in my room, computer lab. Everybody else had to go to the computer lab, right? So I say that to say that we had 22 episodes of a show. That means a writer was employed long enough for 22 episodes. And if you didn't know, back then for your regular, primetime TV shows, you would start your writer's room a little bit early so you can get a couple of episodes ahead. Let's just call it 5 or 6. Could be less, could be more. But you get a couple of episodes ahead, and then you were still writing as they were in production. So you could, if you got 22 episodes to write, you could be working for 3-4 months, which is a lot. Now, if there's only 6 episodes and we write them all before we go into production, streamers, that's why you can binge them because they're not in production at the same time. They completed all of it first and then just put it up there, which means that writer was now only employed for like a month or 2. It was only 6 episodes. And then because it was only 6 episodes, it was only like 3 writers. Whereas if it's 22 episodes, it might be 10 or 12 of us in here. Right? 10 or 12 people are making money. When it's 6 episodes, it's like 3 of us. And look, I love Taylor Sheridan to death. I am a Taylor Sheridan fan, but he gonna write 90% of them episodes. Which means what writer's room? So now writers aren't employed. They're not employed for a long time. And then they're not able to rise in the ranks of the room because they're not in there. And then the streamers, sure, they might cancel something after one season, but the streamers are not even trying to keep a show past 3, seasons. They're like, no, we're moving on. So that you can only go so far in your writer's room if you're starting over each time. And like I said, it's not like, oh, well, let me just apply to another writer's room. It just doesn't work like that. We're not going to get into it tonight, but it just doesn't work like that. So it's like by the time you get in another writer's room, they're like, oh, well, you've only been in this position. So they put you in that position again, and then you don't move up. Whereas when it was regular primetime TV and it was 22 episodes and you knew you were going to get, not you knew, sure, things still got canceled. We still know shows back in the day that only stayed around for a pilot or only stayed around for the season. Like Tashina Arnold was supposed to have a spinoff that never happened on Martin, right? So we know those things happen. But generally speaking, you knew I'm going to be in this joint for at least the next couple of years unless I F it up. If I F it up and I get fired, or if I move on because I'm going to go do another show, or because something big has happened for me, cool. But I'm going to be able to rise through the ranks of this show. So if you look at Shondaland, even if you look at the actors, if you look at the actors, you'll see they always using the same people, right? We're just going to pull these people and pull them over here, blah, blah. So the same thing is happening for those writers. A lot of the Shondaland writers started off as assistants. And then, so if you watch Reasonable Doubt on Hulu, the showrunner started off as an assistant on, I want to say Grey's, but over in Shondaland. I don't know if it was Grey's or not, but it was over in Shondaland. And she worked her way all the way up. And then Shonda was like, okay, time for you to go do this, 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 and this. And she went and she did those things. And now she's running her own show. You have the opportunity to do that when you got 22 episodes per season. You can't really do that when you have 6 episodes for 2 seasons. So I think that's a big deal. That's a big deal for the business, you know? All right, I'm going to try to scroll down. Yeah, I did not enjoy Nickel Boys. I walked out of it, actually. Ronan, you take whatever class you want to take. It's your world, baby. No. So if it's a short film, you don't get 15 minutes. What if your film is only 15 minutes long? Now you only have 5 minutes to hook me in. If your film is only 25 minutes long, you got 5 minutes before I need to know what's going on here. Because if you wait 15 minutes to tell me what's going on here, now you only got 15 minutes to wrap it up. I don't know if I'm gonna last that long. Like, you know what I mean? Now I might be disappointed on the other side because you spent, like, why did you need to give me 15 minutes of exposition if it's only a 20-minute film? You know, and I'm not saying this to you as in you, but I just mean generally speaking. If your film is only 25 minutes, why did you not tell me what this film was about until minute 20? What was the reason? Why was I gathering all this information just for the movie to be over? Now, there are different ways to do short films. I have a video on this as well. Sometimes you're just doing a trailer. Sometimes it's a proof of concept. Sometimes it's just a scene. Sometimes you're doing a full story. If it's a full story, you still have 3 acts that you have to get through in your 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25 pages. You still have 3 acts to get through. The structure is still there. It's just condensed. Scope. Right? So that means whatever it is they're trying to achieve or solve can't be this big in scope because you can't do that in 25 minutes. It needs to be something small that they can do and achieve in that time. I don't know why Lovecraft Country was canceled. I haven't the slightest idea. And I don't remember the state of the world at the time either. Was that us coming out of the Rona? Because if so, that might have been the reason. No, I didn't see Found. Yes, go find the inciting incidents. Let's see. No, it's not who you think it is. No, I'm talking about a real writer. That was shade on purpose. What parts do you have to fix most often? Structure. That's what people call me in for. Structure. Right? This stuff that we're talking about right now. The inciting incident. That's social proof. Somebody else said earlier, the midpoint. Like with the thing that I'm working on right now, the midpoint happens way too late. But it is a period piece, and it is based on something that happened in history. And so it's like, we need all of this information. And maybe because it happened, it's based on something, real, people will give us that pass because they'll be, so engrossed in the movie. Excuse me, but I understand this midpoint is happening too. It's too late. Midpoints are literal. That's why it's called a midpoint. If your script is 120 pages, somewhere between page 60 and 70, give me that midpoint. And right now, ours is later. Now, with that being said, the beats don't necessarily mean that they're one scene. They are sequences, right? So our midpoint sequence, no, I think our midpoint sequence still happens too late. I was going to try to help it out. I think our midpoint sequence happens too late, but that's okay. I'm going to take another pass to trim that thing down. That's my job. My job is to trim it down. I'm going to trim it down, which means we're going to have to kill the darlings, right? But it's not my script. So I can't be so close to it that I'm scared to cut. It's like, no, it got to go. We got to cut this. It got to go. It has to go. Okay, I've been on here an hour longer than I wanted to. What's the act structure for animated shows? It's the same act structure. It's about the length of the show. Let's see. Computer lab. Everybody was trying to help me out. I was like, what is it called? A computer room? Computer lab. Child. Do they even have those now? You got to bring your own computer. You can go to the library and they may have a couple of computers you can use, but like I haven't been on a college campus anytime I've been teaching since, however long, I've been teaching virtually. I taught on a college campus 20 years ago, not quite, almost 15 years ago, however long. And they had computer labs, but I'm like, they have to have computer labs on college campuses, right? They know not everybody has a computer, even though, a lot of people do these days. ABC Family, UPN. Okay, let's see. It's like 8 episodes, 2 years between seasons. Right. But the reason that there are 2 years between seasons on these streamers is because they're writing it all and producing it all before they distribute it. That's not what happens when you're watching ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, your big five. That's not what's happening there. What's happening there is they are producing and writing at the same time, which is not again, because I haven't said this before, but that's why this thing is a skill that you're doing. You don't get 5 years to figure out your script. Okay. If they're shooting every 8 days, which is usually what happens on those primetime shows, they're shooting every 8 days. That means your script got to be turned around, baby, because they're going into production and they will not wait on you. They are shooting something. Okay. They are shooting something. So you have to be ready so that they can go into production with those scripts, which is why the writer's room starts a little early so they can get a few scripts in. Because you don't just write one draft. It's not just, oh, here's my draft. We already talked about that. Your first draft is not that great. You got to get notes. You have to get it approved by the studio. You have to get it approved by the network. And yes, those are 2 separate approvals. And so you have all that happening. And then you got to get the script to the people. So that's why the actors do not get the script until they're about to produce it. When I say produce, I mean go into production. I mean that table read the day before they go into production. That's when they receive their script. So even this acting thing, when people don't understand, why are these people getting paid so much? Why does everybody make such a big deal? They didn't get the script until the day before. And then they have to jump into it wherever. They could show up on day 1 for a sex scene. Hello, my name is Shannan. What's yours? We're about to get naked. Are you ready? Okay. They can show up on day 1 and be in the middle of nowhere where it's cold. And just think about being a woman and being on your cycle and being out in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes your dressing room, your trailer can't go with you where you're shooting. It's somewhere else. It's down the street. It's not right here. It's not, I'll be in my trailer. No, you standing underneath this tent with us with production assistants putting blankets on you, trying to keep you warm. And they're trying to get this take as quickly as they can so they can get you out of here. But this is what you're dealing with, right? So the directors are getting those scripts for TV. They're getting those scripts maybe a week early, sometimes three to 5 days early. Those actors are not getting that script until the table read, and then they are moving, going. That's why you have to be in your craft. That's why you have to learn the craft as a writer. Nobody has time for you. Oh, I've been writing on this thing for 2 years. Baby, you don't want to be in television. No, you don't. No, you don't. They're turning them things around. I'm working with another group of people right now. It's for an international TV series. It's an action TV series. And we're about to get ready to go into the writer's room. And I have been telling them, okay, We turning these things around, right? Like we got to turn them around. We have to turn them around. So we have to have a process. So that's usually what I bring to the table. We have to have a process of how we get the information out, how we get it approved, and how we turn it around. Because if not, you're going to be in this writer's room forever, and you have to pay people while they're in there. You ain't trying to pay people for years. Get out. Get in and get out. Oh, one of your students was on Reasonable Doubt. Cool. You're welcome. Oh, I'm always going to explain the business. And this is not to hate on anybody else out there who's doing their thing, because I put up a video, hopefully y'all watched it, about the difference between script consultants, script doctors, and script coverage companies. I am a script consultant. I am also a script doctor as an individual. My business is a script consultancy. I get hired as a script doctor for things around Hollywood, right? But the reason that people enjoy working with the Professional Pen, which is the name of my company, is because we're not just giving you craft, we're giving you business. And half of the reason why people don't succeed in Hollywood is because they don't understand the business. It has nothing to do with you being talented. I'm just going to keep it funky with you. I'm very talented. You know what I'm saying? But you don't see any of my films that I've written on the big screen, because there's more to it than just craft. Now, I care about craft. I want to be a good writer. I don't want anybody watching my stuff and going, "Ooh, she's terrible." Now, not everybody's going to like it because it's subjective, but I don't want to be the butt of people's jokes. So I care about craft, right? And I want other people to care about craft. And I also think that you can have a longer career if you care about craft. So just like I said about the TV business, you can't be in the TV business if you can't push these scripts out. You can't push these scripts out if you don't understand structure. You can't push these scripts out if you've been teaching yourself 3-act structure, and then now you're on a TV show that writes in 5 acts. When are you going to learn that? You think you're going to learn on the job? You think who's going to teach you? They're not going to stop and teach you nothing. They're going to let you fail, then tell everybody you suck, then fire you, and then good luck with getting another job. You know what I'm saying? Either you could do the job or you can't. And why? Because they're spending millions of dollars. Y'all, Game of Thrones was like $25 million an episode, bruh. Don't nobody got time for you to be figuring stuff out. Now, that doesn't mean people aren't figuring things out. Most people don't know what they're doing. But if it's apparent that you don't know what you're doing and you're slowing things down and you costing money, you got to go. You got to go. You can't stay. You can't stay. So I'm always going to talk about the business. And I know if you don't know a lot about the business, you might not even know what questions to ask. But that's why I'm always saying you can ask screenwriting questions that aren't necessarily about screenwriting itself. You can ask about the business. Okay, yes, that's a reminder. I was asking about Lovecraft Country. It got canceled during the pandemic. So there's no telling what happened. It wasn't one of those things where, people didn't like it, people weren't watching it. Yes, but the pandemic shook up a whole lot of stuff. And most, because these days anybody can have a television network. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I don't mean one in particular. I'm just saying anybody can have a streamer. Anybody can make content. Most studios and networks work on a mandate, meaning they want to be making certain things at a certain time. There was a lot of stuff that they were developing before that pandemic. And when that pandemic happened, by the time they got out of it, that stuff just wasn't relevant in the same way. They couldn't move forward with it in the same way. Money was lost. Nobody was making, people weren't making money. They couldn't produce anything. We were all at home. And in Los Angeles, I know some of y'all are out there in Texas, because that's where I'm from. And Texas acted like we weren't having a pandemic. In Los Angeles, studio executives did not go back into their offices until 2022. I'm not lying to you. 2022. That's how much Hollywood was like. And then in 2023, we had the writer strike and the actor strike. So we have been through a lot over here in Hollywood. And so a lot of the times when stuff gets canceled or stuff doesn't make it through development, which is why I say if you're writing something and you got to development, pat yourself on the back for that. But don't put all your eggs in that basket, because things change and often it has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with your story, and everything to do with everything else. You know what I'm saying? So your job is to just learn more about the business. Is there a film that's structurally terrible? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hold on. Antebellum. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. 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 I did a workshop on antebellum. It was so bad. Oh, baby. And what's that one that Tyler Perry did not too long ago with Mia Culpa, and Divorce in Black. Oh. Now why he want to do us like that, I don't know. Not all of his films are terrible. His first few films are very structurally sound. Do they need work? Absolutely. Do they need development? Absolutely. But that was in the beginning and he was learning and it was clear that he was learning. But they were decently structurally sound. Medea's, what was the first one? Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Medea's Family Reunion. The Family That Prays. What's the one about? Marriage. Somebody's going to put it in the comments. The one about the couples that go on the trip about marriage. Why did I get married? Those are decently structured films. Again, they're not perfect, but you could tell that he was learning, but they're decently structured. And in my opinion, they've gone downhill. They have gotten worse. Worse since then. All right, guys. She said they have computer labs still. My department had a computer lab when I was in graduate school, but that was in 2014. It's different too. Streaming shows are more like HBO than ABC. The script the day before, baby. And then those actors have to be ready. They have to be ready. See? Breezy. Is that how you pronounce it? She said, I have been the PA in the middle of the desert freezing. Child, I was a PA on the beach and didn't realize I was getting sunburned all day. I took my glasses off and I literally had glasses marks. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to get through all the rest of these. How long do a typical movie script take? What do you mean? How long? How long does it take to write it? That's up to you. That's up to you. It's not the same for everybody. So what is the entry level for screenwriting? What do you mean? Like, is there an entry level job? Those don't exist. Entry level jobs for screenwriters don't exist. For TV, the most entry level is being a staff writer, but it's not entry level as in, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm coming here to learn. You see what I'm saying? It's just, here's the example. So, you go to undergrad, you go to medical school, you become an intern, then you become a resident, then you're the doctor. I want you to think about staff writers as the interns. So they still already did a whole lot of stuff before they got here. They're not straight out of high school saying, yeah, I want to be a doctor. And someone's putting them in a room with patients. Right? So this is the same thing for like a staff writer. The entry level position still means you didn't put in some work. You're not coming in here not knowing anything or how to do anything. Do you have to be an established screenwriter before you can be a consultant? No, you don't have to. It's like being a consultant in anything. If that's your area of expertise, then you can consult in it. The question is, what have you done to make it your area of expertise? That's the question. Okay. Screenwriter, entry-level development intern, production co-op, writer's assistant. Capitalism is why we can't get. I'm from Texas. Oh, hey, Rachel. Yeah, Texas stand up. Child, antebellum is terrible. Oh my God. Supposedly he has them now. I actually know a writer who works for Tyler Perry, and I decided not to be nosy, so I didn't ask enough questions. I know some actors that work with Tyler Perry, so I get a little bit more information from that side, but not from the writer side. So yes, he has some writers. What they do and how they do it, I don't know. Because Tyler Perry is an independent film company. He does not run his company like the Hollywood studio system. So even if he has some writers in a room, it's not your typical writer's room. It's not your industry standard writer's room, the way that writer's rooms actually work. Why did I get married? That was it. What did you think of the last holiday? I enjoyed it. Talking about the one with Queen Latifah. You know what? People always ask me if I'm going to post the lives. And I have to be honest with you. I haven't seen an option to do so. I've seen an option to post clips from the live. I have never seen an option to post the whole, we've been on here an hour and a half. I haven't seen an option to post the full live. So the answer is likely no. The clip still exists. And I have posted, some of the clips before, but I don't know if I can post this whole live. It's all right that you're late to class. All right, I'm trying to get to the bottom, guys. Born and raised Houston, Texas, stand up. Thoughts on the blacklist submissions or film festivals. Okay, that's going to be the last thing I talk about. Don't let me forget. The blacklist film festivals. Okay, I made it to the end. Oh, yeah, I could put it on YouTube. You're right. You are right. If I can figure out how to download all the rest of them, I will put them all on YouTube. You are correct. That's where I used to put my old ones. That's where I used to put my lives. Well, Instagram used to not allow you to download your lives. But then they started letting you. And so I would post them on Instagram and then also put them on YouTube. You are correct. So I will do that. Okay, question was about the blacklist and film festivals. Okay, here is my honest truth. Take it or leave it. That's what you should do with all of the information that you receive from people about our industry, because it is very subjective. There are no two people having the same experience in Hollywood. Okay. What I'm going to say about, well, first of all, we're just talking about screenwriting here. So film festivals are for produced films, right? So that's different from screenwriting competitions. But I'm going to give you the same answer. Here's the truth. Because they have now become a business model, there are so many that the industry of competitions and films themselves has been diluted, and winning means nothing. Here's the example. The Olympics only happens, every 4 years? Is it 4 years? Is it 8 years? However long. So that means in the history of the Olympics, there are only a set few people who have a gold medal at all, let alone a gold medal in the butterfly swim competition or whatever that is, every 4 years. Thank you. There's only a set amount of people. That's why it's coveted. There are so many screenwriting competitions and film festivals, and a lot of them, because it's their business model, run a competition every quarter, run 10 competitions every quarter, that you, along with 1 million other people, also won something this year. So what does that mean when you reach out to an agent or a manager or a production company and say, hey, I really want you to read my thing. I won insert screenplay competition. So did 700 other people last month. It doesn't make you special anymore. And sure, some of the larger ones, I'm not going to get into it because, whatever. But some of the larger ones still have clout, but it's not where you put all your eggs. You can win Sundance and still nobody buy your film. You can win Sundance and still never get staffed on somebody's show. I know, because I know somebody who went to Sundance. It's hard to get into Sundance. He went to Sundance, got all the special treatment, had a couple of meetings from there, had some things kind of pop off. But like I told y'all, it's the business. You can have some things pop off and it doesn't mean they will come to fruition. And then you're in the same boat as everybody else. So I say that to say, if you want to do it for your own affirmation, confirmation, right? It's your own, like, I just need somebody else out there to tell me that I'm doing this well, then do it. If you just want to be able to tell people you have a laurel, do it. If you just want to be able to put in your bio on Instagram that you're award winning, oh my God, the amount of people who have award winning in their bio. And I'm just trying to tell you right now, it doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying that to hurt your feelings. I'm just saying that there's no producer who's scrolling through Instagram and looking at your thing where you have 200 followers and it says award winning and you have this one laurel from this film festival down the street. It doesn't mean anything, guys. So if you're going to do it for yourself, because you just need to know I did something, somebody else recognized what I did. If you're going to do it for yourself, because that screenplay competition around the corner is giving $1,000 to the winner, and you like, hey, I need $1,000 so that I can go to this other bigger film festival and network, then do it. But don't do it because you think it's going to be your end all be all, or you think it's going to make you special. The winner's circle isn't small anymore. The winner's circle is ginormous. And depending upon which festival or competition it is, they might have some people who are dedicated to kind of work with you for so long. But at the end of the day, that competition is coming back around and they got other people they about to work with. You know what I'm saying? So it just is, it's one step. It's one option of many. But you rarely hear the people at the award ceremony talking about the film festival they won. You know what I'm saying? Because so many people just get in it and just get it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't want you to think like, oh man, if I get into Sundance, that's it. That's the thing that boosts my career. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But if it's an unknown film festival, and this depends on what your goals are. And so somebody put in here that it's about strategy, and that's absolutely correct. You have to figure out what your goals are for your script, for your film, right? Excuse me. If your goal is, okay, I want to get distribution, and you don't necessarily care what distribution it is, then you need to be going to the film festival that's going to get you some kind of distribution if you win. That might be a smaller film festival. That might be a newer film festival. So it just depends on what you're looking for. So this is not to discourage you and say, just don't do it. But you have to be strategic about it. And when it comes to like these screenplay competitions, I mean, in real life, you just donating entry fees. In real life, I'm going to keep it funky with you. Most of these competitions don't even have professional people reading. Anybody can be reading your screenplay and judging you. How do I know? Because I was one of those people before I had any credits. Before I knew anything about anything, I was reading and judging screenplay competitions for big screenplay competitions. I didn't know anything about anything. Now, I say I didn't know anything about anything, but I have always been a natural storyteller. So like I said before, I might not have had the language, but I understood story. But I say that to say I had no credits, I had no proof, I had no nothing. And I was in there reading people's screenplays and going, nope, this is bad. Nope, this is good. You know, it'd be different if I was doing that now. I have a lot more information, but back then I didn't know and I was reading. So that's what I mean. Like, it's so subjective, guys. It's so subjective. You can submit your script to this one place and they love it. You can submit that exact same script to another place and they hate it. So the same thing is true for the blacklist. It's not your end all be all. If you want to do it, do it. I'm not going to call it a scam because that's not nice. But I just went and looked at it the other day to see like how it really works. And it's not scammy as in like they don't give you the thing that they claim they're going to give you. That's not what I mean by scammy. What I mean is there's a lot of pay to play going on. A lot of incentive for you to keep paying them so that you can reach this place where they claim they can help you. You see what I mean? And it's different when you're paying to develop your craft. It's another thing to be trying to pay so you can get a different score, just so you can get the thing that they claim that you're going to get, you know? And so I was going to put my script on the blacklist because I understand that there are producers and, you know, things who, and people who go there and look for new projects But then when I was reading how it works, it just felt unethical to me. I'm not saying it's unethical. I said it felt unethical to me. I need you to hear that. I didn't say it's unethical, but I didn't like it. And it's probably because I'm in this industry. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just kind of like, dang, it just seemed like y'all just trying to get money out of people with the promise of this goalpost that just seems so high and so far away. You know what I mean? So I say, figure out what your strategy is. Why y'all keep trying to get into my lives? And it's always somebody who probably gonna come in here and try to hack us. So be strategic. Apply for the place that's gonna get you the thing that you want. The best competitions to apply for are the ones that are gonna get you meetings, because when they say that this is about who you know, that's what they mean. And the only way you're going to know people is to meet people. So if it's a competition or a fellowship or a film festival or whatever it is, and the winners or the finalists or whatever get to meet somebody, that's what you need to apply for. So we're going to do a competition this year for the very first time. And it's for the first 15 pages of your script. And at the end of it, you will get a consultation with me about your career, but you will also get a general meeting with an industry professional. Now, that general meeting doesn't mean that they're going to buy your screenplay. That's not what that means. It's your networking opportunity. It's to meet somebody on the inside, to get them to like you. You like them. Now you had a number. Now you had an email address or whatever. So when you're ready, you have somebody you can reach out to. That's all this industry is about. Getting to know people, getting to know people, getting to know people. Do not cold email anybody anything. Breezy. Don't email them your pitch decks. Don't you attach anything. That is the quickest way for somebody to delete it. They're not going to even respond. I will at least respond, or anybody who's answering emails for me will at least respond and then explain to you that this is something you should never do. It's putting you and them in a terrible legal situation, because as soon as somebody makes something that's close to what you sent to them, you're going to be trying to sue them. Right? Not you as in you, Breezy, but just like general, right? The people who are the most scared about somebody stealing their stuff be the first people to attach something. Why are you attaching things to strangers? Don't attach anything. Don't do that. I think I put a video up about that recently as well. So I'm glad you asked that question before we hop off of here. Don't attach anything to anybody unless they ask for it. If they ask for it, attach it. If they don't ask for it, don't attach it. Okay? All right. So here's what we have going on. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. PT, we are doing a free call for those people who are in the school community. There's a link in my bio. Click it. Join. You have to be level 2 to at least to join the community. So it tells you the rules and everything, but it's basically about how you interact with each other, because it's called the Screenwriters Social. So we want you to be social with each other. You interact with each other enough, then you will get points that push you on level 2. If you're on level 2, you can join the live. On that live call, anybody who participated in the writing challenge, we are going to select one of your scripts and I'm going to give you feedback on that live call. Also on that live call, we're going to roll out what our curriculum is this year. We're going to be learning formatting. We're going to be learning world building. We're going to be learning characters, villains in particular. We are going to be doing structure. We're going to be doing, what else? What am I missing? We did a poll, outlining. We did a poll in the group on what people wanted to learn. And everything they told us they wanted to learn, we're doing it. We're going to be teaching it. We're going to be teaching 2 workshops a month, and you'll have 2 writing hours a month. So if you're serious about screenwriting, this is where you need to be. 4 times a month, you're going to be in on this screenwriting thing. And don't worry, because if you miss them, they will be recorded for you. So if you can't physically be there, it's okay. The recordings will be available. Thank you guys so much. And until next time.
And that's it. Want more content? Like, subscribe, and for notifications. Get notes on your script that get you unstuck at www.theprofessionalpen.com.
The professional pen.
I'm out.